Hello, peoples. It's time. This is Tempest Tenebrar, and we are back after a long stint in YouTube jail. Um, we'll discuss more about that in just a minute. But from now, we are talking about the home. This is the home of all things World of Darkness. We're here every other Tuesday, sitting around bullshitting about our favorite role playing games. It's I'm your host, Pete. And as always, let me introduce my co host, Brother Eric.
Hey, what's up, guys?
All right.
Great to be back. God damn, I'm happy.
Good, right? You're so happy you could shit.
An erection right now.
So, but before we get kicked off with tonight's show, as I promised before we got put in YouTube jail, I am going to be putting these motherfuckers on blast. I got no sense of humor about what happened to us, and I definitely don't have sense of humor about what they've been doing to some of their members. Okay, we're talking about the Mind's Eye Society. We're talking about this whole situation where if you aren't in the in crowd, then you're in the out crowd and we'll kick you out, even though we've taken your money so that you can come play with us. No, that shit is right the fuck out. I'm done with it. Okay, so from now on, you're going to hear a diatribe at some point prior to the show about these people. We did a ranch show on Sunday past about a fella who was that'd be Brian Perryman, who was accused of sexually assaulting somebody at a game when the person who was sexually assaulted wasn't even there. This girl didn't even show up for that game, but apparently singing a bawdy song about her character is sexual assault. How the fuck does that happen? So, and we had a very nice fella, David Estefania, who from Spain, who messaged us after the show and said yes, he's had the exact same situation in Spain. So this is systemic, y'all. This isn't just the Austin chapter anymore. This isn't those people who, oh my God, I have an elder, you guys can't do it. No, fuck you. I'm done with y'all's bullshit. So I'm gonna put every single one of you motherfuckers in. If I get names, I'm gonna put your ass out on blast by name on the show. Bet on that shit. So, Brother Eric.
Yes.
Hi.
And Olivia says hi too.
Of course.
Man, so tonight, besides yelling about the hey, I'm on the show. You gotta be quiet. All right, so tonight we're gonna be talking about vampire politics. Well, excuse me,
Vampire.
World of Darkness politics, because it differs for every other game. So, I guess we'll start off with let's start with vampire. Normally throughout vampire politics, everybody just focuses. I mean, everybody knows about Camarilla vampire politics.
Jihad.
Right? Right? We all know that? Are we in agreement?
Yes.
So, I mean, we can try to skip it.
Well, no, I want to talk about it. At least we got 2 hours to fill, dude.
Well, yeah, I know. We can always come back to it.
Oh, of course.
But it's like we talk about it at least once every show.
True.
So, actually, you know what? Michael, why don't you go ahead and let's start with some werewolf, man. Because I love werewolf politics, dude. That is like, for me, that's where the game is at. Forget about hunting down black spiral dancers. Forget about being a cheese nut, get of Fenris, Ahrun, I've got all the points guy. Mm-hmm. I had the most fun playing werewolf whenever I got to be political and get into stare down contests with my weak little werewolf and win. Bam. So, Michael, over to you, buddy.
All right. Thanks, Ed. Mike Jacobson here.
Bring your mic a little closer.
Is that better?
Much better.
Awesome. So, no, I totally agree. Werewolf is, as far as the World of Darkness goes, my bread and butter. But, no, you're right. As far as when Werewolf politics shines, it's especially when the Geru or their allies, if you're playing a fair game, which you should because the fair are great, is when they're unable to do things or get what they want with violence. So things dealing with mundane humans, dealing with other supernatural communities. In many of my different forays into the World of Darkness, I've always liked to put my players in situations where, oh, I'm sorry, you got to go up to the city council, and yeah, there's a bunch of people in there. You can't really kill them all. So if you want zoning for that one place out in town, you kind of have to get into it. Which I know it sounds a little like boring because you're adding, mundane things to your game. But I've always thought, especially with our setting, it adds a credence of no, this is actually how real life works. Sometimes you can't just pop claws, jump into a giant 9-foot tall murder wolf and destroy everything. Sometimes you have to talk it out. Especially when territory is shared with the big cities. I know when I was playing a buddy of mine's game, I was actually a vampire. Unfortunately, because I've had a lot of really great experiences with vampires, had a lot of really bad experiences playing vampire. But the city was based out of St. Louis, but to prove ourselves, we had to go to the suburb cities and basically run those with no hitch. And so it was all about going around, manipulating the entire town, getting everybody on board with our basic plan, and causing no problems for the prince. So that was a lot of fun. We had it down to the point of we even were controlling the bake sales for the nursing homes because we ghouled them all. It was fantastic. We had a bevy of like 9-year-old.
Oh yeah, that's
ghouls.
always fun.
It was awesome, especially B. B was my favorite. She had the best brownies. But no, oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought someone else was talking. My apologies. But no, it's just for me, especially when politics comes into play. I like to look for other avenues than the obvious. Because of course, especially if you're looking at tribes, you're going to have the intertribal issues with the more left-leaning tribes and the more right-feeling tribes. But if you take it down to a much less of a macro level, and you're dealing with more interpersonal, so you're dealing with societal changes with the family, especially with new changers. They're still trying to figure out what exactly Guru society is, how they can reason with it, and whether or not they can reconcile their past life with their new life and try to find some sort of balance. A lot of good things to do that is like your character is in the middle of a master's degree program or is in the military like I am, where you don't have a say in what you do most of the time. You will be here. I don't care about your excuse. Is adding that sort of personal level of drama that would actually really implement itself on your characters. But I don't know. That's just my 2 cents.
Oh no, that's great. Thank you.
Yep.
I would just want to throw a hi to the folks in the channel. Thank you for coming in tonight, guys, and especially our new producer. Although you guys didn't know this is one of those things that happened in the situation, the nebulous issue with the whole YouTube jail. New Wave Masquerade is our new producer for the show. She's going to keep track of the Twitter account and a few other things for us. And I want to say hi to her, Full Moon Daria, some bored loser, and of course Into the Wilderness. Lovely to have you.
Where's Bart? Oh, come on, man. Bart is my well-behaved younger cousin.
So okay, now I don't know that if we have enough knowledge in the channel or even in on the air tonight. The only group that I know of that puts more of an emphasis on political machinations is the changelings. Other than the vampires. That everybody else has their own little political here, there, and everywhere. But I'm thinking the changelings have some serious, especially with the court. Both the
That's
Seelie and Unseelie.
that's true, but I think we did miss one thing with werewolf that
Oh,
forces werewolves to be political in games is if you put them up against Pentex. It isn't
That's true.
just monsters fighting human monsters, it's also politicking. You have to outsmart and outpolitic massive corporations filled with lawyers and humans who may not know they're working for evil. And you just can't kill that innocent human lawyer who's just doing his job.
it's
Well, I mean, if you're a get, you can.
Well, yeah, well, sure, you can. Okay, I'll rephrase. You can, but should you?
But
See,
no, that's very true.
here's the thing, and I'm going to give you this example because it's one of my favorite characters I've played in Werewolf. Now, because I had been in that organization for so long, when we first started doing Vampire or Werewolf, right? When it came out and stuff, I had created like one of the first characters. And then I would come in every now and then at conventions to play it. But the character I created, because somebody said you can't play a social.
can't do that either.
Yeah. You can't play a social werewolf. So I said, fuck you, I can. I'll figure it out. So literally, I played a Ragabash Wendigo. Basically, I made him the literally weakest guy. I took the flaw that had small size, puny Krynos. I mean, I couldn't fight anybody. But my social traits were crazy. Okay. So the other thing is that I took one fetish, and that was a Bane skin, so I could talk to the worm guys. And there were several times because a LARP setting, no matter what you do, is mostly social. So you do a lot more politics in that than you would in a tabletop game most of the time. Because otherwise, in my opinion, and a lot of other people's opinion, if you're just standing there throwing chops, you might as well just get dice out and sit at a table, But there was I played the character for a long time, and back off and on, back and forth. But one of the most memorable things I did with that character was we had a really big convention, and we had a huge moot, and they wanted me to play him. And at that point, because of all the points, he was an elder. I'm like, sure, I'll do it because everybody just liked him. His name was Talks Too Much. He was basically constantly stoned and never shut the fuck up. That was his deal, and that's just what I did, man.
That's fucking funny, dude.
Yeah. So there was a situation where they were trying to basically chase down a Nexus crawler, right?
Yeah.
And they find it, and they're all excited that they're going to go kill it. And so I'm there with all these runes and all this other stuff, and because I'm the elder of the group, which I'm the puniest dude, I didn't even go into Krynos or anything. I just stood there, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I just said, hold on a second, and I put on the Bane skin, walked up to the crawler, and made friends with it and told it to go away.
These are not
And they were all pissed. They were all really pissed because now Eric, as a storyteller, knew that they were going to fucking die, right? And I just threw really good chops that night, honestly. I'm like, this is not going to work. But it did. I'm like, oh, that's cool. But I guess the moral was that the moot we had later, I got called out for stealing honor, right? Which would have been a big deal if I would have, right? But because it was a moot and I was the eldest Ragabash, I played the fool, which is fun. Oh, Lord, I can't tell you how much fun it is to be the fool at a moot. It really is, man. That's like, oh, yeah, give me that any day. But during the moot, I had all these, basically all the pups, is what I call them anyway, were tried to basically pull me up and call me out, and one of them wanted to stare me down. So the cool thing about werewolf social stuff is that the stare down is like the ultimate thing. It's like if you cannot beat somebody in a stare down, you can't challenge. You can't challenge them or anything else. And there was not a single person that could basically not. I couldn't stare down.
Isn't half the changeover for Pack Alpha the stare down?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And their alpha knew better, but at the time. But the thing was that situation created so much great tension, and it created such a great scene of this puny little guy and this giant Get a Fenris Aharoon, fully Krynos, getting in my face, and I stare him down, and he has to back down.
Nice.
And then I go back to boogity boogity, you suck, because I'm the only guy that can do that. So yeah, I mean that's what I think is fun about those kind of politics is you have that savagery, but at the same time you have to have that restraint,
Oh yeah.
to not lose it, and I think that creates for some great story.
Oh yeah.
Too bad they didn't have that restraint back in the day when they killed all the other changing forms.
Well, yeah, of course.
Like the were-trout?
Oh yeah.
And the were hummingbirds.
Yes.
Hey, I just gotta say, as someone who's actually written Veronica's Path, the were hummingbirds was something we brought up a lot. And they were very upset.
Oh, no doubt. Well, no, we did a show last year, I think it was, about the changing breeds. All the.
I saw it. I listened to it.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So you know my thing. What the fuck? Were sharks? Come on, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's very fun. I mean, if you can't have fun with the setting, why
I know, man. Dude, it's hilarious.
Oh yeah. And
But
plus,
no,
it's like, you know,
when we did the book covers for the Storyteller Vault for April 1st, people had actually side messaged me and said, "You guys, you need to write this book." I was like, "No." I said, "No, not gonna work for me." Number one, I'm not a writer, but that's beside the point. Number two, we don't want to throw too much humor into our game. You know, it tends to take away some of the horror aspect of the situation.
Oh, of course. A little levity goes a long way.
Yes. And no, that was I'd mentioned it to Ian, and Hogan. He was like, "No." I'm like, "Yeah, I know, right?"
It's a funny haha thing, not a thing that actually goes out.
Exactly. And somebody actually caught without me even saying it, about the Garul being the ones who wiped out the were-trout.
Well, that makes sense.
It does. It makes perfect sense.
And it gets those stupid bears down off their high horse. Yeah, you did something too. Shut up, Winnie the Pooh. Heal me. So, it's totally fine.
I got some honey. Come on, buddy.
Yeah.
No, I'm not resurrecting your dead king. You can kill us all. Wait, that wasn't a suggestion.
Oh God. Swim away.
Yeah, swim away.
Oh man, that'd be great.
Oh, girl, we had to bring that shit back up. You know that, right? New Wave. Just say it. If we're going to talk, I'm going to be bringing up were-trout forever.
You should be, because trout is delicious. And, well, if you think about it, if you really don't like the guy who's the were-trout, kill him.
Basically.
I mean, do one of those things where he stays in Krynos, then you eat for like 2 weeks. You're fine.
Heck, just go all Gordon Ramsay and be like, "This is how you fillet a were-trout.
This is
Sharp claw, get as close to the spine as possible."
Oh my God, dude!
Don't
Stop! You're killing me. Okay, so let's briefly touch on each of the various versions of political machinations that we have in the world of darkness. Let's move on to the mages. Mages are, most of their political stuff is within the house, not between the houses. At least that's the impression I'm getting.
Yeah, I totally agree. You don't go to the technocracy and just go, "Hey, I have this idea." It's like, no, we tell you the idea.
Okay, you have to bring your mic closer, man.
My apologies. Sorry. But yeah, no, especially with the technocracy, they tell you what to do. There's no room for anyone else's vision. But as far as the mages go, I think it's more like trying to find little pieces of lore, trying to find things to make certain spells work, test theories with each other. I mean, they're very political, but it's more of a, I think, a crowdsourcing uh,
Okay.
type mentality.
So would you say most of the sort of politicking then comes in with like personality differences and then trying to use the systems in place for checks and balances against one another?
I would say, yeah. I mean, my buddy Josh would have much more to say about Mage than I do. But as far as that, no, I totally agree. I think that just how Mage Society is built.
Yeah, I kind of noticed that. Was that, yeah, they are more. Well, it's very similar to, the Tremere infighting among the clan, not among the clans. Pearl, no, I'm talking about inside within the Tremere hierarchy itself. There's always somebody who wants to go higher up the pyramid. And usually,
Oh
the
yeah.
only way to have that happen is to drag the guy down, the guy above you down. It's
hmm
usually and mage political machinations tend to be very similar. Well, go figure, right?
Yeah.
Right. I was going to actually say that. I was like, well, they were mages once upon a time, and now they use fake magic.
Well, okay, so I'm gonna throw in my New World of Darkness stuff in now
Yay.
because honestly, Mage, the Ascension.
The
The
Awakening.
Awakening.
The awakening,
Thank
yeah.
you. Other A word. Anyway, the Awakening has more politics. That's honestly where all the different games for New World of Darkness shine.
Yeah.
Is the fact
Yep.
that those politics are built into the game. You know, and I in playing, the new Mage,
hmm
we had a lot more with the council. You actually have a council. You have a reason to interact with each other more.
hmm
Um, and it created for a bunch of just really uh, interesting interactions because the politics are a lot more. Well, yeah, they're cerebral. You know, I always look at Vampire's the social game, Werewolf is the physical game, and Mage is the mental game.
Yeah.
You know, and when you have, it's really interesting to have debates.
hmm
You know, where it's like, hey, I have this theory about this, and this, and this other guy goes, no, you're completely wrong. This, and this, and then the actual politics comes out of that. It's like we have a problem, we have to solve it. Well, I've got this magic, y'all suck. It becomes
And then you
Well,
mix into it the ideologies of their factions, right?
right, exactly.
oh yeah. Oh yeah. No, Mage of the Awakening. The Awakening is definitely built way better for social interaction than Ascension ever was. And I love both, but I'm a big Chronicles of Darkness whore. So,
Yeah.
I'm
um,
right there with you, Michael.
yeah,
I am right there with you.
yeah. Well, I mean, when I got tapped to write for the newest Werewolf Forsaken book, um, one of the biggest things I want to do is add a lot more of a social interaction um, for the antagonists that I created for that book. And I can't wait for that book to be released so I can actually talk about it. But no, all of the Chronicles of Darkness settings are built to fill all those roles of physical, mental, and social incredibly well. I mean, if especially if you look at the Kickstarter version of Geist, the Sin Eater's second edition, just hit backers last week, and if you actually look into it, it was always a pretty social game in first edition, but in second edition, I think it's even more tailor made uh, for social interaction, either between yourself or other denizens of the Chronicles of Darkness setting. It's stellar what you actually can pull off in that setting. So no, just with everything. I mean, especially if you look at how the Uratha Werewolf Society works is you still need that social interaction. You still need to balance both aspects of your life in a way that's much more, I think, personal than it was in Apocalypse. Because if you don't have the pack, there's something wrong. Like you are not taking care of number one. You are not able to send. And God, I have so many Forsaken stories. I'm sorry. I'm taking up so much time.
Nah, you take your time, dude.
All right. But yeah, like you were saying with mage and social interaction, especially when you look at their different mage society, not just I'm talking about the series, but the actual pentacle itself. All these societies are very set up to be much more, not necessarily antagonistic in sort of in vague ways that a smaller, more grounded chronicle will definitely eat that up. Not just with resource sharing, but lore and just this is a whole settings based on mysteries, and what is a mystery to me is won't necessarily be the same thing for you. It's I don't know the aspect of discovery in there is just crazy, and other mages want your stuff, and they don't necessarily want to be very forthright with asking. So I've always found, especially in Awakening, the best antagonists are other mages, of who are not necessarily what you would say Seers of the Throne or Samanti or anything like that. They're just another guy like you who wants your stuff. He's not going to stop.
Okay. Now.
Mages are their own worst enemy.
Yep, the hubris. It's how they fall.
So, of the old world of darkness, I guess how should I see? I always have a hard time coming up with a word that uh, encompasses, like okay, werewolves and vampires and change.
I
What?
say types.
Huh?
I say types.
Okay. So, all right. Which of the old world of darkness types did not actually expect to have much political infighting? And I can think of one particular one that I'm thinking of, but I'm asking the question of both y'all and the folks in chat.
Hmm.
Two, now that I'm thinking about it.
I want to say were trout, but I don't think that's the right answer.
Were trout is always the right answer. Of old world.
I think I have mine, but I'll go second. Because actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm wrong. I was originally going to throw at the original Mummy.
That's one of them.
No. But no, they're very social if you play it the way the setting actually details. Except it's much more of I am a mummy, I am awesome. Do what I say.
Yeah, right?
I have a pretty loincloth. My bandage.
You guys know anything about demon politics?
That was...
Oh!
Yeah.
I know Chronicles Demon much better than I know Old World Demon.
Well...
I actually just got done reading Days of Fire the other day. Well, with old school Demon, with Demon of the Fallen, they are social, but when they want to be. Actually, no, I take that back. No, they're pretty. It's a pretty social game. It just depends. My biggest problem with that, I love the setting, I love the idea, but like I didn't know what they exactly wanted to do. Like, what was their end game? Because it was such a meta-driven setting. I think. I mean, it was hard for the smaller demon games to ever break away from the meta plot. So I always had an issue running it. But no, I mean, it's a very social game.
Okay. The only other one I was thinking about was Kindred of the East.
Oh, yeah.
Not big on political.
No, it's very much more of like a personal philosophy. Like you could play it somewhat socially, but it's not very political, especially since it too ties in strongly with its own meta plot of, stopping the Yama Kings before everything goes to hell.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically.
There ain't time for politics. The world's ending.
Mm-hmm.
No, right?
Yeah. If you're looking for a good setting that's still in the werewolf, the Hyungaki, the shape changers of the East are very social.
Hengioke.
Hangioka, I can't pronounce it. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I've been
that's
deployed
okay.
to
It's
Japan. I
hard.
still cannot pronounce stupid words. I apologize.
I pronounce it Hangeyokai thanks to Bloodlines.
Whatever.
Yeah, normally after I'm running a game like that, I'm already like 2 shots in. I point at the word, be like, you know what this is.
Yeah, I've given up on the pronunciation thing. You people
I am
keep
so
slapping
sorry.
me down, and I'm not getting back up.
Yeah.
I am too.
But no, especially how that game works on a almost caste system. It definitely leads well to heavy social interaction, especially with the kitsune, which are just social butterflies.
Yeah, they tend to, from what Victor tells us, is that they do tend to, flip from court to court, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Just wish we had wish we had a Western population of them, but that's just me.
Yeah, and the thing with them is that they don't tend to. I mean, it's like basically wanting to play a fish mouth. Nobody wants to deal with it.
Oh yeah. Well, no one wants to be the bard. I'm sorry, no, it's like same thing. They don't realize how much they need them until they're like halfway through. It's like, oh, bard would be really nice right now. So
Exactly.
yeah.
So,
Still need
okay, what about Wraith? I know that there's some political infighting between the guilds,
it.
but not so much between each individual Wraith.
Not necessarily, considering there's hefty prices for losing the political game. I mean, since items and their very currencies made out of spirits, you have to know the play your local game of who's in charge, what are the rules, how do I navigate these rules, or I'm going to end up someone's fucking chair,
Pretty
or
much,
worse.
yeah. Your ass could go off to the Soul Forge in a big fucking hurry.
Exactly. So you have to learn the local politics. Who's untouchable? Who is touchable? Who should you interact with? Who should you not interact with? Who can you interact with behind closed doors? So it can get really political, but it's also extremely personal horror focus, which I think is why a lot of people are like, how do I juggle all this and play with people that I don't know? Which is where Wraith's biggest failing / success is. It's great. It's just hard to play.
Exactly. Yeah. You need a very dedicated, very serious-minded crew to pull off Wraith proper. Otherwise,
And
just
honestly, for me, Wraith is only good with friends, like good friends.
Oh yeah.
Because the shadow the shadow player, I like it if that person fucks with me. But I'm really comfortable with somebody I know fucking with me as opposed
to just some random dude.
Right, because then it creates they're yeah.
But that's why Wraith usually, doesn't actually lend itself to a soul Wraith game. You can get somebody playing a Wraith in a vampire game, or even a werewolf game for that matter, or better yet, even mage. But it just doesn't seem to work as well as a pure Wraith game. At least that's what I get.
Well, I see. I think that Wraiths, when it's done in just a Wraith setting, the personal core is kind of amped up a bit, as amped up to 10, because because the characterization, it's a very personal game, and every time I played Wraith, because I've played Wraith a lot, but the best thing was when my last deployment, I got a bunch of guys together, I threw it at them, and it was weird. We all came up with different oh god, this is what death means to me, and it was really weird because we were deployed at the time, so it was weird. But no, it's true. It's because that's such a personal game. The social interaction between players and between certain really important tied to those players is just it's crazy. I mean, there were time all of us shed tears because we were all just working through our own bullshit, and it was like the weirdest form of therapy I think I've ever honestly had.
Yeah, I
But
agree.
yeah.
I mean, you really get to know your friends real well. I'll tell you that much.
Oh yeah.
Find out how
But
big a dick they really are. Yeah. By the way, hi Brian. Happy to have you here tonight, man. Appreciate it. If you guys in the channel, man, if you got something you want to ask, man, go ahead and ask, or commentary. And I've seen we've had some good commentary rolling, so let's keep it going. We'd like to hear from y'all if you have questions about what's going on. Um,
Can we talk about smart politics?
between us four, do we have enough knowledge to get into Changeling, or?
I do Chronicles, so I do Lost, but not so much
Yeah, I was
Dreaming.
gonna say Dreaming or Lost, because Lost is awesome.
Yeah,
But at the same time, so's Changeling. It's just, here's the thing, y'all know my deal with Changeling. I think it's like, angst light and kind of really doesn't quite belong. The Dreaming anyway.
Yeah.
Mostly because I think a lot of it was the people I played with. If I wanted to play D&D, I'd play D&D. So that's kind of like my experience with it. And anytime I tried to do some role playing that didn't involve swords and sorcery, I was told no.
What? Oh,
it was just the group of people I was playing with, where it's like, oh, I've got this big troll. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna tickle your butt cheeks, and they're like, oh, don't do that. I'm a satyr. I'm gonna tickle your butt cheeks. No, don't. So they but I could see in Dreaming at least the different courts, though it's not as cutthroat.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, Changing Dreaming is like the one setting for the World of Darkness that is so positive.
Positive my ass. No.
No.
No. No.
Like I said, it depends on who you're playing with.
Yeah, because it is of all the old World of Darkness, it is the most horrible. It is the most dark.
Mm-hmm. I need to play. I need to play Changing the Dream with you then, because I've only played it once, but I've read the books and I love the books. But I don't know. I'm the worst to talk about this one because
we've done a couple of Changeling shows, and you ought to listen in on one of the ones that has Victor on it.
I will. It's actually been on my list
because he really does have a good way of making this situation with Changeling, people, that's what I originally thought. Oh, it's light and happy, it's fairies and all this, that, and the other. No, it ain't fucking happy, it ain't fucking light, and it damn sure ain't.
Well, Pete, that's because Victor takes it in a different direction than the way it's written in a lot of ways. First of all, even in looking at the book, okay, the art, everything else, it's angst light. It totally is, and a lot of it when you read through the core book and stuff, none of that is there, but there's hints of stuff throughout other books, and that's what Victor seized upon and really makes it his own, and that's why I think that needs to be emphasized more than actually like 90% of the material.
So happy on the surface, terrible in the actual application. So
right. It's like it's there. You got to dig for it, though.
Sounds really interesting. I'm definitely have to give that a listen.
And then if you take Lost,
oh God, yeah.
He's even got a couple of books out now on Storyteller Vault, Changeling books. Now,
nice.
Victor Kinzer, by the way. So yeah, he really has got a good handle on Changeling in general. And yeah, I believe him when he tells me it's one of the darkest of the venues. As far as World of Darkness is
Yeah,
concerned.
it's got the potential to be. Definitely does. Yeah.
Sounds great.
Most people just don't do that.
Full Moon
So
Jerry
it's another game
mentions,
where it depends.
Geist,
Yes.
2nd edition.
Amazing. Simply amazing. I'm so in love with that book. It's crazy.
I want to get it because Geist the Saint Eaters just sounds super fascinating.
It does.
It is. It's great.
Like you're kind of like werewolves, but you're dead people who fused with a thing. Have fun.
Yeah.
No,
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean Wraith is one of my favorite of the splats. Really is, and I'm hearing Geist kind of dials that up to 11. Hello? Did I lose everybody?
Yeah. Oh, I'm here.
Okay.
We're here.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've heard it's the spiritual successor from so many friends, and like I love them both. But it's like having your cake and eating it too with the Wraith setting. So you get all of your personal human drama, and then you get all the let's go to the underworld. There's this really messed up Kurobi. Oh crap! It's amazing. It's the work that they did on that book, in the 2nd edition book, is outstanding. I am so in love with this book. I've read it now twice, and I just cannot wait. And I love the 1st edition. I adored the 1st edition, but they have done so much better world building in the 2nd edition. It's if you didn't back the Kickstarter, once it hits Drive, which I believe should be soonish, get it. You will not be sad.
I just like that a lot of the old books are coming back out, especially stuff like that. And it makes it there are plenty of places now to actually buy them. Normally, I would have had to go to a place like McKay's, that had all these old school, like my copy of Kindred of the East I got there, and it was only because somebody had sold it to them. That's what they do. You sell them your old books, and they turn around and resell them. And I just love it. It's just, but now that they're further away, I'm having to go to places, and I've decided I really can't do PDF. You're right, Eric.
Yeah.
You're really right about that. PDF is great, but there's a difference between knowing the rules and flipping through the book. Because it's just this whole pages. I like pages.
I like the pages, precious.
Yeah,
pages.
It's like I also, when I look at a book, especially a game book, I know where things are in the book, but I don't look at page numbers. I'm not like, okay, I know that on page 85 there's this. I go, okay, I know that near the picture of this person is where the rules for this are. Or I know that, a little bit after this chapter or what, and that's how I look at it. And if I've got a PDF, right, I can't go, okay, there's the picture and thumb through the whole thing in 5 seconds. Go, wait, there's the picture, bam.
Yeah.
It always takes me like 5 minutes to find something in a book and about 20 to find it on a PDF.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I like both. I mean, I prefer nothing will beat the smell of the book.
No, right.
Nothing. The page, the feel of the pages, nothing ever will replace that. But for me personally, being on the go so much, and just being able to all my PDFs are on my iPad. As long as I have that, I'll survive. It definitely is nice. But no, you're right. Especially when gaming, I do a lot of online gaming. I do a lot of D&D online, but nothing will beat there's the personal feel of having everyone at the table, having books in hand, because it's just something that it's an immersion thing for me.
No doubt,
where I
no
can,
doubt.
Yeah.
Speaking of pretty books, and just to segue back into politics, Changeling the Lost is a beautiful book, 2nd edition especially.
It's gorgeous.
As I've
It
never
is,
actually flipped through that book, I can't say.
Dude, I have to save my money.
it's a
I
beautiful book.
know,
Save your
dude.
money for it
Oh,
because,
man.
and it is a beautiful game. The politics in that game are baked into its very foundation.
Oh,
And,
yes.
and what I love about Lost Politics specifically is just the overwhelming idea of like you are all changed, broken, not humans, and you are all infighting, or you're fighting with the freehold down the street or in the other city, and then the huntsman shows up or the true fae declare war, and you're like, well, fuck these politics, we got bigger issues.
Exactly. It is
The
great.
Huntsman, the Wild Hunt.
Yep.
Ah, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
The
Oh,
embodied
they. Yeah. Sorry.
I was gonna say, yeah, an empty shell that is filled with the longing of your former master who wants you back, and it will stop at nothing to get you.
Yeah. It's like that one X who won't leave you alone. It's fantastic.
Yeah, coming
But
for
no,
you, Barbara.
actually, a caveat on that because it encounters everything. If you guys aren't following the current Kickstarter for Contagion Chronicles, for Chronicles of Darkness, this thing is built so heavily for social interaction and politics between all of the various Chronicles of Darkness splats. It's really good. They've been releasing little bits and pieces of the book as the Kickstarter goes on, and it's enthralling. And just seeing politics will play between everybody is, especially when it comes to uh, changelings, because they're like already social butterflies. But how is that going to work when you go up against a werewolf, but you don't want to kill anything? Vice versa. It's fantastic. Everything's all come together.
Cool.
Nice.
I
I wanted to write for that book so bad.
I threw $50. I'm getting the hardcover.
I'm doing the same
Oh,
thing.
damn! I wish I could do that. That would be so much fun to own. You know, a full set of the old World of Darkness rules. That would be awesome.
Oh yeah, that is the dream. That is
That
the
is the
dream.
dream.
I mean, I have Mummy, I have Mage, I have Wraith, I have Vampire, and I have Kindred of the East, and that's it. There are a couple more. I like Werewolf. I want. I'll never play it, but I want the Hunter book.
Oh, that's such a pretty book too.
Yeah, we're gonna get around to the Hunter here in a minute. Um,
Oh, good.
so
Yeah.
Oh, good.
basically, there some of us could, we get what we can. That's all.
Oh,
And
totally
Yeah,
makes
and I
sense.
have a lot of the LARP books because they're cheaper.
oh
Yeah.
yeah, but they're all useless.
No, they're not. Actually, the cool thing about the LARP books, honestly, is that the same fluff is in it. It's just in a smaller package, you know,
Oh, okay.
and it gives you great character ideas because you got pictures of people.
Because
True.
I mean, I have the Mage rules right behind me here.
I'm sorry.
I know, right? That's such a sucky rule set. It
Well,
really
no, it
is.
was okay. Mage was the LARP that was not supposed to be made.
True.
Everyone said no, we're not doing it, and then like guys were like, no, we're gonna do. No, it doesn't work, and it doesn't work. So it's like we tried to tell you. Anyway.
Well, when you can beat someone to death with your with the LARP book, this is a problem.
That is the problem.
Just saying. I mean,
Rock, paper, book.
Okay,
Yeah.
you win. You win.
I don't think paperback books are supposed to go funk when you drop them on a desk. I'm just saying. I mean, it's caving the desk. I mean, someone okay, volumes or something, please. Because I remember in high school, someone gave me one of my buddies gave me because he wanted me to run Mage. This is when we were doing all the LARP stuff, and he gave me that book. I'm like, no,
Just
no,
No.
no,
Yeah.
no, dude, my GPA is 4.0. I read this, it goes down. I can't do this shit. I'm sorry, buddy. I love you. I love you. I really do.
But this isn't
And
going to work
I
for
want
me.
to be a wizard, man, but no, there's no. Sorry.
Oh my
Let's
god.
just be werewolves. It's a lot simpler.
I'm trying to remember. Did they actually do a rule set from Wraith too?
Yeah,
They
Oh,
did.
okay.
It's
See,
really good, actually.
I helped out with that one. I helped playtest that.
Oh,
Yeah,
As
oh,
amazing.
that could be fun.
Oblivion, the LARP version of Wraith. I helped play that. I helped playtest that way back in the day.
Okay, so let's talk about Hunter and
Oof, yeah.
politics. I mean, I'm trying to figure out again, if you're like Society of Leopold or something like that, I can see politics being an issue. But if you're just some random dude that suddenly sees monsters everywhere, how much politics can you get into?
So if you're going to have a game that's like individual hunter cell sort of group, yeah, you might not have much. You'd have your sort of level of politics is either going to be interfering or dealing with local politics in the setting, or interplayer con or inter-character conflict as people their morality starts to slip and the paragons of the group are like, no, what are you doing? Stop doing bad things. No, we can't burn down the orphanage if there's a vampire in there. That's what about the children?
Yeah.
But then if you have But then if you have the larger groups, I mean, you give humans power, like in the real world, politicking starts to happen because people want to consolidate as much power as possible while giving up as little as they can. So the Society of Leopold technically should possibly come with all of the politics of the organization behind it, the Catholic Church. So you have a strict hierarchy of power, and the only way to go up is to drag the guy above you down to open a spot, or they die. Oh, I didn't realize that vampire was behind them, and oops, well, they're dead now. But hey,
Yeah, but
bishop
hey, I got
spot's
the
open.
vampire too.
I got the vampire too. So promotion.
Yeah.
Oh, New
With,
Wave, that's funny. Oh shit.
I was going to talk about the Reckoning for a second. When
Go ahead.
uh, the way I think about, like, honestly, like any game, like any group that you play Hunter the Reckoning with, it's a lot like in my mind, and whenever I've done it, it's kind of like the way The Walking Dead is. You know, you've got a group of people who are in a roundabout way trying to survive. You know, and those conflicts, just like in that show and some other like apocalyptic shows like that, it's a lot of it's about the conflict between the individuals, and sometimes small politics can be just as good as giant overarching things.
Good
Like
point.
trying to figure out if this person likes you or not, as opposed to this person, can be just as powerful as okay, how am I going to take out the bishop? You know, or do I really want this person to survive? Exactly like you guys were saying, or should I leave him to the wolves? Literally.
No,
So
that's true, and especially if
personal
you're.
politics.
Oh yeah. Well, if you're looking at both Reckoning and Vigil, I mean, hunters are very specific a lot of the times, and especially when they look at the society that they're breaking out under. Okay, maybe they're not werewolf hunters. So then all of a sudden, okay, well, I'm equipped to deal with the leeches. I'm not equipped to deal with a big giant 9 foot tall murder wolf. Let's talk. Or hey, you just stick to your side of the town. I'll stick to mine. That's cool. Don't eat my kids. I won't shoot any of yours. Per cool. It really does, because I mean, one of the best things about hunters and the premise of both those games is it's regular mundane people usually dealing with incredibly supernatural things that they are not equipped at all to deal with. So politicking for survival, just basic survival, is necessary.
Okay.
Yeah, I
No,
didn't even
no,
think about that.
I agree with you. Shit. That's and by the way, Michael, speak up a little more or move the mic. Like I said, you're okay for a second, then you drop off.
All right, my apologies, Mike. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. It's just I don't want anybody to miss what you're saying because you're really bringing some good information to the table here, and I appreciate
Gotcha.
you.
It,
So
Not a
and
problem. Yeah, not a
that
problem.
point that point does raise the sort of, we've been going through the individuals, and then towards the next, maybe towards the end of the show, we could go over not just how they interact with politics within themselves, like hunters with hunters, vampires with vampires, but then how do they navigate each other?
As soon as we got about 5 minutes before we were doing our halfway turnover, and I was going to bring in specifically vampire and werewolf politics.
Because I mean, I know we can spend an hour talking about just vampires.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
Yeah,
I will suck your blood. How do you feel about this equation?
Blood.
No, yes, okay. Tenderly. Okay, write that down. Tenderly, we will tenderly do it.
I am Count Popular.
It's a give and take. It's a social thing. Fantastic. No blast? Okay, no blast.
So, still haven't gotten a lot of questions from the channel. I'm kind of curious. I know you guys are enjoying the show, but if you've got questions, please, throw them at us, because we really want to, interact with our audience as much as we want to interact with each other.
Hey, boss, I got one really quick. It's kind of based on the chat, because I'm reading the chat right now. So, New Wave Masquerade. I got something for the children. There's an amazing book for the Chronicles line called Innocence. It's where you're dealing as children. And right now in my mixed play group, we're doing that. We're working our way through Innocence and working ourselves up. We're currently in the 90s, but the social interaction for children is so oddly specific, just because of the pure power displacement between children and adults. And it's one of the few things I'm finding really fascinating with this current game, is that it's incredibly different. Like if you actually look back and think about when you were a kid, trying to talk to adults and trying to get them in on your side, and trying to get them to take what you're saying seriously, it's really difficult. And the Innocence book, which is a great book, by the way, if you like Chronicles of Darkness, I strongly suggest it. But from that lens of just children playing as a child PC, is such a different and refreshing thing for most of my players. So no, definitely, because everything's scarier. Where the supernatural stuff is much more entertaining, and they like the idea of it because they're kids. All kids love monsters, but they're terrified by the mundane things. They're terrified of being home late for past curfew. They're terrified of disappointing their parents for failing a grade a lot more than they are going to that spooky house that you think might have a vampire in it. We don't know. So, no, just I don't know, just an idea. Please think of the children.
All right. Please think of the children. Jeez, that's going to wind up being our tagline.
I was going to comment on New Wave's thing of, let's talk about vampires. Goodbye, 2 hours.
Yeah, no shit, right?
Well, vampire politics has so much depth to it, because that was the first game that they focused a lot of it, and both new and both old and new World of Darkness. Like, there's just so much vampire politicking. It could be its own show.
By the way, hi, Jennifer. You're up really late, sweetie. But you said you just watched Endgame, so awesome. I hope you liked it. No spoilers.
No spoilers.
I think she gets that.
Yeah.
I'm not emotionally prepared for Endgame. I'm just throwing that out there.
I don't know.
I'm not emotionally prepared for sitting in a theater for 3 hours. I'm fine with the movie.
No.
Oh, no. A friend of mine.
I already know how this damn thing's going to end. I don't really care. I read comics.
Yeah. Well, no.
No.
Well, if you read
one
the
of my
comics,
friends, one of my serious comic book nerd friends, she flat out, posted it. It says, if your little crotch goblin can't be quiet for 3 fucking hours, don't bring him.
Exactly. No, and that's perfectly fine.
Bullshit.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, with this movie, I get it. I mean, I'm lucky. I'm taking my wife and son. We have a drive-in theater.
Oh, that's right.
Those are fun.
Yeah.
It just got warm enough to do that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so, I live in 29 Palms, California, so it's always warm enough here in the middle of freaking nowhere.
I'm in Toledo, Ohio.
Oh, I love Toledo, though. I miss Toledo. I like Toledo. But anyway, no. So yeah. So we're just gonna like put him in the front. I think it screams head off. It's fine.
Oh, we got a question from New Wave.
Go ahead, man.
How do you guys feel about the politics from the different supernatural creatures' interaction with one another? I'm sure the politics are murder, literally.
Zing.
Oh yeah.
There's murder going on, definitely, but then there's also some politicking that has to happen. Like the example of werewolves and vampires that was brought up earlier. I mean, theoretically, the werewolves might have to parlay with the vampires if the vampires own, say, a land development firm and they just bought your cairn.
Well, let's talk about, if you want to talk about that, let's just use one of the most I guess iconic cities for that particular issue, which would be New York City, Manhattan Island. It's the largest cairn in the world, which is Central Park, but it's all vampire outside of that. So there has to be some sort of cohabitational rules, or you'd have murder in the streets every night.
Mm-hmm.
It's true.
I mean, you do in New York anyway, but not to the extent that it would happen.
It has nothing to do with werewolves and vampires.
Exactly.
Mhm.
No, I agree, and it'd be interesting in New York specifically, since New York keeps changing hands canonically in Old World of Darkness between the Sabbat and the Cam. Like pockets of it change, so the werewolves are sitting here watching the leeches tear each other apart, going, "I'm cool with this. Who brought popcorn?"
Yeah, no shit, right? That's what
Whoever
I was about to say.
wins.
Who brought the popcorn?
Whoever wins will go up and be like, "Central Park is ours. You keep your fangy asses out."
Yeah, there's a couple of glasswalkers putting down bets.
No
Yeah.
shit, right?
Glasswalker
10-1,
bookies.
this venture doesn't make it through the night.
And there's that odd shadow going, no, y'all aren't doing it right. Do it like this.
Exactly.
I love
Count the children of Gaia out screaming out, "Someone please think of the children."
Please think of the children.
But those are great
Think of the
pants.
children.
Oh no, have some granola.
Boy, get off me arse and bring me a beer. I'm watching the show.
All right. Shit. Move your bloody great head. It's
Angus,
Sputnik.
get your ass over here and look at these damn leeches, what they're doing. I swear to God, it's fucking hilarious.
That one just ripped the head off the other one with its tail. That one has a tail.
I was like Uncle Buck, let me tell you. Oh, God.
Okay, wait a minute. Some bored loser. Wait a minute. Are you talking about werewolves? Or are you just talking about furries? Because
Yes.
I got issue with furries. I'm just saying.
Oh, you leave the
people
furry.
creep me the fuck out, man. I don't.
Leave the furries alone. And werewolves are furries. End of discussion.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Technically, you're right.
And,
You're
you
right.
know, every now and then, after a long weekend of drinking, we all become furries every now and then.
Okay, so it was werewolves they were talking about.
Yep.
Okay, hold up. We got a new one from New Wave. Will the Shadow Lords from Europe please yield? And by the yield, I mean stop murdering my fucking vampire subjects.
No.
Meanwhile, the La Sombra fucking bishop is like, that's not how you talk to werewolves. This is how you talk to werewolves. Oblivion Potence punch to the nose. We're gonna fucking deal.
Yeah, yes.
Which way the werewolf's like, I like you.
Yeah.
Sure.
Do it again. That was good.
That was good.
Oh,
That's a good
boy.
punch.
Oh, that was funny.
Oh, boy.
Sorry, I had to catch my breath. Oh, that's some funny
I know.
shit, yo.
Yeah, the Avenger just screams at them all. The La Sombra bishop walks up, punches him in the snoot, and is like, we're gonna fucking deal. Enough.
Yeah, I can't see, cam vampires. I can see them working out a treaty with the Guru, but I can't see the Sabbat doing the same. I just can't.
I do disagree. I think the Sabbat, I mean, theoretically, I think the Sabbat would more have a mind, depending on who they send, to be like a Ventru anti-tribute, or a La Sombra would be like, hey, we all got bigger fish to fry, You want to help eat my vampire daddy? I'd love you.
All right.
There was a
like-
Full Moon Darius got a question. She's asking us what settings politics do you like the best? And some changelings are furries too. Yeah, we get that.
Hookah.
They're
Yeah,
half
that's
fur.
what I was about to say.
You're shaking that little tail. Come on over.
Oh God.
God,
Not to
God,
mention
God,
every
single
single
time
beast
God, I
is changeling.
just had a freaking chill run up my spine. Stop that shit.
I'm sorry. It's just whenever we get into changeling, I just start thinking like that damn satyr. I'm sorry.
Oh,
I'll try.
But-
I'll try. I'll try.
yeah, satyrs are funny like that, man. They don't have no, they don't have a concept of personal space.
What?
Honestly, as long as the satyr's wearing pants, I'm fine.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's just no fun.
Just wear pants.
What?
Satyr
You don't wanna
shouldn't
see
have
that his
fun.
dick's bigger than yours? Is that what the problem is? Or
Hey guys, why don't I play this
Yes
flute
and
and I'll
yes.
chill?
that's a yes. Uh-huh.
God.
But
Yes.
as for which politics I think are the best, personally, again, I go vampire tied with changeling the lost. I like those the best personally.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
gotta go. First of all, Sabat. Second of all, I'd have to go honestly. Mage the Awakening. Because of how cerebral it is,
Mm-hmm.
It's not violence. It's not. Sometimes it's yelling at each other, but most of the time it's debate. And I personally, I like debate. I was, did some debate team stuff in junior high and loved it.
Point of privilege.
Objection.
Sustain.
No.
I object.
Overruled. Womp womp womp.
I object. Why? Because it's damaging to my case. Overruled. Good call.
Oh, God.
Hate to
Oh,
tell
Lord.
you,
Boy,
New
this
Wave
whole
says-
conversation just went sideways.
Yeah,
It's
that's
fantastic.
fun.
I love it.
No, that's
As far-
that's some of our best shows have done
Oh,
that. It's great. I love it.
Oh yeah. No, I like this. This is fun. As far as my favorite setting, for World of Darkness, even though it's not my forte, vampire is just so. I mean, it just works. I love it. It's always fun just to like mess with people with words and then go bite them. It's great. But if we're talking Chronicles, I want to say Werewolf Forsaken because I love that game. It's my favorite game. But honestly, Geist Senior Second Edition, just with all the new bevy of different things you can do. I mean, it's stellar. I gotta give it to that.
Okay. Eric, did you tell us yours?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, his was Sabat and Mage the Awakening.
Oh, that's right. So I guess it's me.
Yeah.
Hit it, Pop Bear.
Well, vampire, of course, because politics basically is half the game. It really is. It's the whole jihad. It's all about what you can do behind the scenes to get what you want without actually showing your hand. That's basically politics. That's the way fucking shit runs, especially in this country. The other one I would say would probably be Wraith. The inter guild politicking, and prior to the maelstrom. I'm talking about back when Stygia was still standing. Okay, so yeah, those would be my two.
Fantastic.
I think we all have excellent choices.
It's pretty good. I do have one quick,
Go ahead.
especially with bigger cities. Especially because supernatural communities in the old world, and so not the old, in the world of darkness, they operate on secrecy. So open warfare can't happen on either side. So a lot of the time, I know that we played a game in St. Louis where there was like a war parlay where it was like, okay, we're going to be here at this place, we're going to fight. Where everything was, even the wars were planned out in very secretive places, just for a fact they can't let any humans see what's going on. So even war politics.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's true. The only one of the few organizations that is willing to break the secrecy for war is the Sabbat, because they use it as a tactical weapon. I mean, they don't rip the cap right off, but they're like, here's a peek behind the curtain. Here's another peek. Here's another peek. Oh, look, you're trying to sew the fabric of the curtain. Now I stab you in the ass and you're dead and the city's mine. Ha!
Pretty much.
Oh, Sabbat.
Yeah.
I love Sabbat politics, man.
As do I. I love the Sabbat. They are so much fun.
And I can't, V5.
I just don't get it. It's like it's a fuck up looking for a place to happen. That's the Sabbat. That's just
That's what the Camarilla propaganda has led you to believe.
lies.
That is nothing but Camarilla propaganda.
Lies.
Because all you are tools of the antediluvians, damn it.
You are tools of the antediluvians playing into their game. Your inner circle is nothing but a bunch of antediluvian tit sucklers. That is what you are. And we do not eat babies. Phil tried a baby one time, and you people won't fucking let it go.
Yeah, won't let it go.
Oh my God.
Look, I was drunk. It was a bad time, all right?
Hashtag make cake. All right.
What goes on in Vegas stays in Vegas, damn it.
Exactly. Let it go.
Giovanni.
Oh, Giovanni.
Oh, Giovanni politics. That's a fuck up.
Some of the actual inter-clan politics are really fucking strange.
Now, I love Bruja.
We've already covered the Tremere one, but Giovanni, and La Sombra.
Bruja too.
Issues.
I can go on Bruja politics for dude. Oh man, there is nothing more fun than getting about 20, 30 Bruja together and having a rant. That is so much fun. I mean, to role play it out either on the tabletop or in LARP is great, because you've got debates going on. You've got the mosh pit. It's just like there are so many different social interactions that are just colliding with each other in one big orgy of badassness.
Over in the corner, you can see the professor giving
there. The Gangrel, that's how their politics works. Is just you got a problem with this other Gangrel, you guys duke it out. And
no.
Whoever's standing at the end is the one who wins the argument.
No, there's actually like Bruja do the same thing, but there's rules behind it because they're Bruja.
Yeah, there are no rules for the Gangrel. It's just
it's just whoever gets on top.
Yeah,
it is.
That's what Gangrels are. The whole dominance thing.
But we do. I mean, you will know it's a Bruja rant if you see a professor of philosophy having a slideshow in the corner during the rant.
Exactly. So, as you go through here, can you put the beer down, please? Anyway.
Please. Pay attention.
I will throw this piece of chalk through your fucking skull. Sit down. Take notes.
Do not make me put you in fucking detention.
No shit.
Oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me a moment.
Goosebumps. As I was saying,
I didn't know you could actually decapitate somebody with an eraser. But okay.
Yeah. The other thing is that you don't. If you're a Bruja, you don't want to face the wrath of your own clan.
Oh no.
Because if you betray the clan, I don't know if you've ever read Clan Book Bruja, where it describes what happens when you run the gauntlet, because that's the punishment. Anytime you betray Clan Bruja, if the clan gets together and they all say, "Hey, you got to do it," then that's what you got to do, and it's basically like being jumped in, and it's except with knives and shit.
And you probably will not survive.
Right. And if you do, you have earned it.
You have earned our forgiveness by not fucking dying.
Exactly.
New Wave. That's fucking funny.
By the
It
tension,
is.
I mean fucking dope war.
That's what I'm saying. Is like I think that kind of and that politics can also. I mean, you can bleed that sort of thing over, but there's just nothing like that particular thing.
Well,
You
it's
know?
like
Yeah.
it's also like what do they call the big meetings in the Sabbat? The ones convocations, whatever. When you get all the major wheelers and dealers in any particular city, and they say that if there isn't blood on the table by the end of the discussion, nothing was accomplished.
So American politics, gotcha.
Kind of. Well, what I love about the Sabbat actually is they have rules
Love that?
for if you have a disagreement with another person in the Sabbat, be it in your pack or not, you actually have to sit down and mediate your issue. You have to sit down and talk it out first. You cannot escalate to violence. It's in the rules. So
Yes.
you have to get a third-party mediator, sit down, and try to hash out your differences through discussion first.
Then the Valdering, the Vernacular.
Yep.
Yeah.
Ooh, that makes for fun. I hate you, but I love you, but I hate you, and I'll do anything for you, you fucking bitch. Oh my god.
And fire.
Dealing with that is also just oh man.
And
But I hate you. I hate you. I love you. I would do anything for you, you fucking bastard. Also, are you cold? I knitted you a sweater.
Exactly.
Oh my god.
It
Well,
says,
that-
I hate you. Please go die. And then on the back it says, I hope you're diablerized by your antediluvian.
So
Oh boy.
apparently, there's more politicking in among the Sabbat than there is among the camp.
Yes, surprisingly.
Mhm.
You know, and the thing for at least for me, what I've known, whenever I've watched it happen, has been there's more of it because everybody's jockeying for position because that's the very nature of the sect.
Yeah.
You know, it's survival of the fittest. It's who's going to come out on top. You know.
Yeah, it's this guy.
So
this
you've got
guy's
packs
one-
versus packs. You've got guys within packs fighting. Each trying to one up each other, and it just becomes a giant game until everybody loses an eye.
Yeah,
No.
of course.
Mhm.
It'll grow back.
Nothing was accomplished
Eventually.
unless somebody loses an eye.
Yeah.
But that's also why they challenge their things to games. Like you have games and fun little rituals of hunting, and you release that energy through channeled rituals and games that your pack or your bishop creates and holds.
Yeah.
Okay, who's typing?
Oh shit! I'm sorry. It's my loud ass keyboard.
Well, it sounded like you were on a typewriter, dude. Seriously.
Yeah, this thing is like I had to grab this stupid ass cheap keyboard until I can go out and get another one. It's basically like it's an old ass Dell keyboard.
Mechanical?
Yeah,
Oh, no shit.
it's just like loud as all shit.
Welcome to Tempest Tenebrum ASMR edition.
I don't.
How
are you doing? Can you touch my monkey?
Oh, thank God.
But no, swinging back to the Giovanni, because I do love them as a clan. That one is, I love the clan politics there, because not only is there vampire politicking for power and an ultimate goal, you're all fucking related.
Yeah.
And you're dealing with family and politics and business all rolled into one messy spaghetti pile. And it's like, I hate my cousin. Why? She stole my business dealings and then gave me a sloppy blowjob after. It really sucked.
Hey, that's a bad situation for everybody.
It's a
okay?
bad situation for
Bad
everyone.
situation for everybody.
Wait, didn't your cousin die 5 years ago? Yeah, but we don't
Yeah.
talk about
Yeah,
that.
but we don't talk about
That is not the point.
That is not the point.
Don't
Point
bring
is that-
facts into this.
He's still a pain in the
Focus.
ass. That's all I got to say.
There,
And I lost money. That's the point here.
it was all. Oh my God! It was all awkward eye contact. No one had a good time. I could do better myself.
As a matter of fact, I will.
I'm undead. I could do what I want. spend a blood point. Yeah, okay, cool.
That's right. Roll.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So have you? So Michael, have you played any of the V5 stuff yet?
I have the book. I have not. I have one set up next month to play, so I'm looking forward to it.
You should.
But,
it's fun. They really did a
I'm
good
looking
job
forward
with
to it.
these new rules.
Mhm. I'm really looking forward to it. I do have strong arguments on Nosferatu politics because it's basically a bunch of Nosferatu in a circle throwing a giant mope fest, and I love that.
With the occasional tossing of shade at each other.
Well, since
Exactly.
they live in
the Cure's
hives,
playing in the background.
they're much more
Someone's
social with each other than any other clan.
They are, and they don't let anyone else see that. And I do love
No.
the fact that they know they're easily manipulated by the other clans. They're aware of that fact. But when you're hideous and someone says, "Hey, you're pretty on the inside," you bury this body. Yeah.
Yeah, you're cutting out again.
I'm sorry. I was motioning. I'm walking.
There you
But yeah,
go.
no. But no. Especially when they're hideous, and the affirmation that they're given, they eat that shit up, even by like the most powerless vampires. They're like, yeah, you know what? Sure, I'll bear that body for you. It's totally fine. You said I'm pretty. How do you like my? Okay, my Cure shirt looks good. Okay, cool.
You're beautiful on the inside, says the sexy Toreador to the Nosferatu. I'm sure it's pretty in there somewhere. Now do me a favor.
Yeah, exactly.
Can you go
And they
stand
know.
in the corner?
I really like the way that boil brings out the red in your eyes.
Right.
I think it's great. And that smell, what's that bouquet? Otis Shithead? Oh, that's great.
Oh,
Why don't you
No, I-
unique.
You know, when we started playing Eric's game, I had actually really thought about it. I'm so used to playing a Tremere, I just didn't want to go down that road. Been there, done that, seen the movie, bought the T-shirt, but I'm now playing a Nosferatu and having big fun.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I'm having big fun.
Oh, Nosferatu.
Pass the ball, Jones.
I got a pass the ball, Jones.
It's the name of my character.
Oh, fantastic. No, Nosferatu are some of the most underplayed characters. They're amazing.
Oh,
They're so great.
I had a couple guys here locally that would play nothing but Nosferatu, and they were so much fun. They were great role players, too.
Fantastic.
There was another group in Austin. We had a bunch of guys come in, that just 3 guys that wanted to just play Giovanni because they liked it, and they would never accept experience points.
Nice.
Like they we just want this, and they'd come in, and it was lots of fun. But yeah, if you got anytime that you have somebody that can really do the clan justice is always good. And then at the same time, I mean, dude, Pete's having. I mean,
I'm having big fun, man. I get to drive around in a garbage truck. I am happy as a clam. And got to kick his system in it so I can play really random music.
Yeah. He's got ice cream truck music playing.
Yeah, exactly.
Bling, bling, bling,
And the wheels on the bus.
Wheels on the bus,
Wheels
yes.
on the bus. Wide the fuck open with much bass. Boom, boom.
Nice.
I'm having big fun with it. I can't do a fish mouth, but I can damn sure do a fish nosh. No problem. And of course, I've got a hand cannon, which is always fun.
Oh yeah.
That 500,
Especially,
yeah. That
I think honestly, I think that in the more looking at it, and also as we've been playing for so long now, I can really see how V5 out of all the different games is actually set up for politics better than any other game.
Well, with the connections that we have to have, before we
start playing. With the connections, but not only that, but you can attack people's willpower now.
Yeah.
Oh, what happens if you bottom out with willpower?
No, you have 2 damage tracks. You have your health and you have your
I get that. What I'm asking is, what happens when you bottom out on willpower?
You become exhausted, take penalties to all your rolls, and you are basically a pliable thing.
Ah,
They beat you into mental and social submission.
That's interesting. I like that.
yeah. See, that's good
I
information.
I used I used it against a gangster by the name of Pookie
Pookie.
one session with my new thin blood,
Yeah,
who
if
had a
Pookie isn't wearing a fur hat, we got a problem.
he was.
Oh, goody.
Don't worry, he was. Anyway, but no, the what's great about V5's also political structure is it's in the setting since a lot of the head elders who were once these paragons of power and thought untouchable, they're dead and
Yeah.
gone,
Yeah.
and they have left power vacuums everywhere, and now
I
people
mean,
are
you can buy
scrambling
your
to
gen.
grab
Well, that's the other
what they
thing
want.
I've noticed with the new system is that back in the old system, everybody wanted to buy their generation down. But now you can buy your generation down, but it doesn't fucking matter because it's not generation is where the power is.
Nope, now it's blood potency. And if
Mm-hmm.
you go too high up in generation, you have to start doing resist rules to the beckoning
Yeah.
to head east. And no one wants to go east
Or
because it's
west,
a
if depending on which side of the world
or
you're on.
west, depending
Yeah.
on which side of the world you're on. And either way, you don't want to go there.
No,
You
I
don't.
wouldn't. I've heard some scary shit going on down yonder in the wet desert, some fucking place. Not really interested in finding out what it is, though.
Same.
No.
I think my favorite entry in one of the I think it's the Camarilla book is they're like the Sabbat was a dull blade, but is being sharpened by this Gehenna war, and I fear us all when they come back.
So,
That's
okay, my
beautiful.
question is, this call to the desert, is this anywhere near Alma, or is it where exactly is it?
It has not actually been. No one's gone and confirmed exactly where they're being called. There's a theory that it's Element. There's a theory that it's also people are being called to their antediluvian, wherever their antediluvian currently is.
But that's that.
People.
But the call to the desert, you can't have all the antediluvians hanging out in the same fucking place.
Exactly. They've left it vague, though. We don't know. All we have are
Ah,
theories. Theories of why are people going? Why are these elders just not telling anyone up and disappearing? One night you go to look and, oh, the prince of your city is gone. And so is
so
half your primage and council.
do we have any political aspects to the antediluvians that are calling?
Did y'all forget about the second city?
Enoch, I forgot about Enoch. Shit.
Yeah, it's in the Middle East, guys.
Well, it's now back into the Middle East. It was in the
Yep.
Shadowlands, but
And that could be where they're being beckoned, but no one's gone over and then come back to be like, oh yeah, they're going here.
yeah, no,
Because anyone who goes over there just
Did y'all read Gehenna, the book?
I haven't.
Oh yeah.
Yes, I did.
I skimmed it.
Which
You
one?
remember
Which of the four scenarios?
the one with the rise where the antediluvians like rise up into this and go to the second city?
Okay.
I
Uh,
forget which one that is.
I can pull it up here, but basically that's what
It's
happens.
not
Is that
Wormwood.
the
Is it the Gospel of God
No.
or the Gospel of Heaven?
Let me see here. Let me see which one it's called. It's the one. It's like the third one after the Lilith and Cain thing. It is Nightshade.
Okay.
It's where it's basically kind of like the main thing.
So they
But
didn't completely throw away all the stuff that was.
no, they just took all the Gehenna stuff and took the best parts out of it. It was like the rest of the game.
Yeah, because I was totally underwhelmed when I bought Gehenna and then read all four of those scenarios, and I said I don't like any of these. I said I don't fucking like any of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can kind of understand that from that book.
Which
I
is
can
why
completely-
when they said that Gehenna is sort of still going on and it's not following specifically any of those four scenarios, I was like, oh, okay, cool. We can actually do something here.
Yeah, no, what I like about it also in Vegas Jihad Diary, they explain that there are multiple sort of ideas of Gehenna that can happen, because Gehenna is just a cycle. It's just an event that could end the world or change it as we know it.
Yeah.
And so in reality, you want to stop as many of these as happening as possible, because the Giovanni are planning one with the Endless Night. The Antediluvians are one. It's just that there's a bunch of end of the world things, because anything could end the world when you're dealing with supernatural powers.
Oh, of
Yeah.
course. And New Wave says it might be better for a storyteller to come up with their own Final Night plot.
Yeah,
And yeah, I'm right there with you, girl.
I
I'm right
agree.
there
I
with you.
mean,
See,
I
but
like.
that's one of the things about Gehenna, the way it's written, that's kind of cool, is that they give you that.
Yeah,
They say, hey, here's a bunch of ideas. Do whatever the fuck you want.
Right?
I mean,
And that's what I do like about Werewolf.
yeah, same. I mean, personally, one thing I do like is I do like Fair as Foul. I like the Lilith one.
Yeah.
I like bringing that in their fight, and then you can decide. Your players can help decide who comes out of this victorious. Does anyone?
Lilith.
Do your characters? I mean, they're technically in the thing. They never wrote "What if Kane wins" ending, but they're like, well, I mean, what would happen if he wins? Vampires continue existing.
Well,
He
no,
beats
the
Lilith.
concept I had that I liked by best as far as, throwing a lot of this stuff to the winds was that, yes, here's the thing. At this great time of upheaval, Cain doesn't come back, but Lilith does. Oh boy.
That would be interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's pissed.
Oh, and she's pissed.
She has a right to be pissed.
Oh, she does. If anyone has a right
Yeah,
to be
she-
like
yeah.
pissy, it's Lilith.
Oh, yeah.
She has all the angry.
I mean, yeah, betrayed by God, betrayed by Adam, betrayed by Lucifer, betrayed by Cain. She's like, fuck everything and everyone
All
in the
the
world.
angry.
Arr!
And
My
of course,
garden
New
was
Wave,
nice.
she's right there
You
with
came
me.
fucked it
She's
up.
like, Team Lilith. That's a hashtag.
Yeah.
Team Lilith.
Oh, I am proud, Team Lilith.
Same. I am a follower
Yeah.
of Lilith, hands down.
She was the first mage.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Chapter 5, The Crucible of God, was also fun, because that one had some politicking, since the idea was your players break the Masquerade, and then they become wrapped up in the end of the world, and their decisions decide what happens. And in one ending, Tremere shows up and is like, I need your help to save the world. I have a ritual that will allow me to raise the second gen so I can dominate everyone in the world until everyone to walk out into the sun. So the only ones living will be us in this magic circle. All other kindred will be dead. And the players can go, yeah, that sounds cool. Let's do that. And then Tzimisce takes over his body and merges with the entirety of the human race.
Yeah.
Oh.
That
Wah
was,
wah.
yeah. Or he explodes.
Or he
That
explodes,
was,
yeah.
I like that
Yeah.
one too, where Tzimisce just blows him up and then devours him from within.
Yeah, that too. And then that one, Salat can show up and actually be like the good guy, or he could also be like the bad guy fighting with Tzimisce. Who knows? It's up to you.
Yeah, it's like Salu becomes like the golden child in the movie, the golden child.
Oh, I love
Yep.
it. I love
Yeah.
it. I have it on
Uh,
DVD. It is one of those that I watch at least once a year.
I want the knife.
Yeah.
I mean, the antediluvian
It's so
politics.
disrespectful. I was like, man, please. You're lucky that little dude in the robe doesn't kick you in the ass.
I mean, theoretically, even the antediluvians have politics between them, because it feels like all of them are like, so which one of us wants to become dad first, or granddad first? It's a race to the top of the hill.
All you can drink buffet.
All you can drink buffet as we try to fuck each other over with our multiple childer.
So,
Yeah.
in the end time, since we're all over Gehenna at this point, how much politicking, once the shit hits the fan, how much politicking is there actually going to be?
I think it depends on who you're with and where you are. Personally, I'm biased when I say this. I think the Camarilla is going to be politicking all the way to the last seconds of the Earth because Gehenna is going to be the best point in time to fucking murder your enemies and then be like, the Sabbat did it. Or the werewolves did it. Or the humans did it. It wasn't me who killed my longtime rival of like 300 years? What are you talking about?
You don't have me on video. You can't prove shit.
Yeah, you can't prove shit, motherfucker. They're all dead. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah.
No collusion.
With the
Oh my god. The Gehenna report.
I couldn't help it, man.
I devoured the entire country. There can't be collusion. I ate all of them. Moving on.
Moving on. My God.
The furries did it. Thanks, loser.
The furries did it. Thank you. But, I mean, that's my interpretation of the Camarilla. It always has been. And theoretically, their idea would be politic, wheeled and dealed, survive the end of the world. They've wanted to survive. The Camarilla are survivalists. It's what they do. And it's what they do well. Let's all admit that. They are terrific survivalists. The Anarchs, I think, when shit hits the fan, the Anarchs just kind of putter out a little bit.
They know how to hide. That's about it.
They know how to hide, but problem with the Anarchs, particularly in their politics, just sliding into them, is they lack strong leadership.
Yeah,
because their strong leaders sit down and go, I don't want to be leader. Right. I want a complete, like, individualist true democracy. I don't want to be leader. But the true democracy just voted you temporary leader. I don't want to be leader. Meh. I quit the movement. It's like, fuck, you had potential and you screw it up. That's my problem with the Anarchs. They have potential, then they screw it up, and now they have the followers of the Ministry. So their politicking just got way more fucking dangerous.
Yeah, and those brothers, they know how to politic. Those motherfuckers know how to politic, especially politicking outside of the clan.
And inside the clan too.
Inside the clan too, but it's not nearly as cutthroat as a lot of the other clans are, as far as that's concerned. But
I theorize they can be
to go to a city and go, don't mind me, nothing to see here, move along. They somehow get the prince to say, oh, I ain't worried about what he's doing. Let's just move on with our little. The harpy is doing her shit and all this, that, and the other. But yeah, the Ministry, man, you got to watch those guys. They are scary.
They walk up, flashy thing you with a king cobra and keep moving.
Yeah.
Look at my snake. Forget I was here. Goodbye.
Wow, right?
Oh my god, it's like a scary version of the Old Spice Man.
Yes.
Look at my snake. Now look at that guy. Now look at my snake. Now look at that guy.
I'm gone.
Give me your blood. This has been a good day. Have a good day.
Pretty much. Look at him. Now look at me. Your antediluvian could be me, but he could at least smell like me if you sign up for the Church of Set Initiate program.
God.
But I think they also can play cutthroat with each other if it benefits them to manipulate a third party. There's I'm going to bring it back to this, I always do. The Beckett's Yacht Diary has a great chapter where your favorite Setite, whose name I can't remember off the top of my head, him, he totally manipulates Beckett by pretending to be kidnapped by a sect within the church.
Well, yeah,
and Beckett fucking falls for it hook, line, and Beckett falls for it hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah, and doesn't even, he's not even close to the truth behind what Hesh is doing.
Mm-hmm. You know what?
There's a reason they call him the prophet of Typhon.
There's a Ministry song called Just One Fix. You ever heard that?
I know the Ministry, but I'm not sure about the music.
Anyway, the song just starts off with "Never Trust a Junkie." Right?
True.
And that should apply to just any time you ever meet one in the Ministry.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's true.
Do not trust the serpents. It is a bad idea. Ask the Cappadocians. They'll tell you.
Another group very good at politicking, the Cappadocians. Right up to when what's the new name of that particular clan? The one, not
The
the,
Hikata,
Yeah.
yeah.
where they just took all of them and put them in one group finally.
Yeah, because apparently, I want to read the fiction behind them. Like, how did the Cappadocians, the Harbingers, the
The
Giovanni,
Harbingers, that was the one I was thinking of. But yeah.
and the moldy motherfuckers, whose name I can't remember,
Oh, you talking about the Samiti?
the Semeti, all decided, let's all be one clan of death. I'm like, okay, who sat down with whom? I want fiction. I want to hear
Exactly.
that debate of how they all came together and decided we're one clan now. We have clan members of the Camarilla, forced neutral clan, and members of the Sabbat all sat down at a table and decided we're all going to be one big fucking happy family. We're going to like it.
That's right.
Yeah.
I want to know how that happened. Who was in the room? Who was at that table?
Who even got
Oddly
them all
enough,
together?
I'm starting to think that the Toreador might actually have some of a leg up on, the whole politicking thing.
Oh, they do. Toreador do. They're smart. They are cunning. They are. I think they play to stereotypes. Because you think Toreador and you think, oh, it's a sissy artist who couldn't fight their way out of a wet paper bag.
I don't know. Celerity can be pretty devastating if you use it right.
It can. And I think people know that. But again, the Toreador play to the stereotype of, oh, I could never spill blood. I could never hurt another living soul. And then sort of play on this thing and use it to emotionally manipulate people who are still clinging to their humanity. And then they can drop that, guys, when they're speaking and manipulating a low humanity vampire and appeal to their beast. Be like, wouldn't it just feel good to go and rip that man's throat out? He's humiliated you. He has sullied your reputation. But I know you are a good, powerful being, and you need to reassert your dominance. Yes, go. Did you kill him? Did you kill the Prince's Hound? No? Oh, I got rid of you. That works for me. You did? I am one step closer to becoming Prince. Thank you.
New Wave's got a question. Was wondering how the quote unquote sex of the Samiti and the Harbingers, how did they get together long enough to sing Kumbaya?
My theory is the endless night with the Giovanni is no longer obtainable. Their overarching goal has failed. Augustus Giovanni has gone into hiding like the scaredy cat he is. Cappadocius is awake. And the Harbingers and Cappadocians got everyone together and is like, we're all going to agree to powwow until Daddy's dead. And then we will split the estate evenly when we're the only ones left. And then everyone crossed their fingers behind their backs, and now we're moving forward. That's my theory.
Yeah. I always thought reading over 5e that it was much more of a, oh crap, the food source has a lot of new tricks, so we need to kind of get together and figure some stuff smarter than predictions ago. They're tracking us, and they're smarter than us in certain ways. So I always viewed it as more for the new modern setting, much more of a we need to keep going on, and we need to rethink how we operate. So either we all band together, or we all hang alone, type thing.
Well,
or at least that's what I was saying.
It's kind of a we're fucked from all angles now.
Yeah.
So how are we going to get the hell out of this, and what are we going to do just to survive?
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of builds from there, because the humans have learned tons of new tricks, drone strikes, and at the same time, the Sabbat finally, are doing their thing that they've been waiting for, and it scared the shit out of a lot of them.
Yeah.
Wait, you see the
Jennifer
real?
has a suggestion. Is she thinks it's a force from the Shadowlands that brought them all together.
This Potter. Do you know who Dice Potter is? Charon.
Is that Care?
No, there's a patron ghost, so to speak, of Clan Giovanni, of the Giovanni family. They've been around. That it's an old Roman name of this.
Yeah, I got that because it's Latin.
Yeah, and it's like their patron ghost, not saint, but lack of a better term. It was revealed. I think it was in one of the either demon books or I think it was the World of Darkness, just main end of World of Darkness books. That was Charon, who is in fact Charon is a demon.
Huh.
But that patron saint also helped. Yeah, Jennifer said, yeah, exactly. That they helped the Clan Giovanni diabolarize Cappadocius and all that kind of stuff. But that wraith in particular is well, it's not really a wraith. Charon was a demon from Demon the Fallen. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that really works.
It doesn't fit with what I know of the cosmology, but okay.
I mean, theoretically, a demon could probably impersonate a wraith to those, like the Giovanni, fairly easily.
There's a whole type, I guess, of demons that are death. They're reapers. They're actually literally the ones that created the Shadowlands and created the prison for themselves. They were forced to make their own prison. And the one that did that was Charon.
Oh.
It says so in the main book. When it talks about their background and how they came about and everything else. It's a really cool story. That's why, I love Demon the Fallen because of like the stories in it are great.
That seems to be the consensus. It's like Wraith, whereas there are a lot of folks out there would love to play Wraith, but they just don't. And Demon seems to be another one that they love, just like Wraith, but they just don't play it because it's finding a good venue for that. Whether or not you can throw a demon or a wraith into a vampire game or
honestly, you don't want to throw demons in with anybody else.
I don't know, man.
No, when you're playing demon, and this is where that source of argument comes from, where no changeling are not more powerful. They were angels. Okay?
Uh-huh.
Their whole thing is that their powers are literally creation. You are literally playing with creation. It's not that. It's not like hey, I've got this spooky power. It's okay. I'm going to now bend time to do this. Right? Not like with a mage going, okay, I'm going to play with the time sphere. It's like, no, I'm going to do it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. By the way, New Wave's got a question. Since the Giovanni Cappadocias of the Semidia, is there anything about the Lamia yet in V5?
No, and there won't be, because they're all dead.
They may get a passing mention at some point in the Blood Cult book, because that's where they're going to be tackling all those clans, but we have not heard anything specific. I would keep an eye out for the Blood Cult Kickstarter, or Cults of Blood, I think is what it's going to be called. And if it gets enough hype, they might do a live Q&A, and you could ask the Onyx Path people that very question. Maybe there will be.
If they bring them back, I'm going to do my thing.
I don't think they'll bring them back, but I would like at least a mention of like where they belong in the history of what eventually became the Hecate.
Because
like
they're the reason for the Giovanni curse.
Yeah.
They didn't have the curse until after they ate, and they ate all of them, the Lamia.
Cults of the Blood Gods, Jennifer says.
Cults of the Blood Gods, that's it. Well, I mean, they had to eat the Lamia in order to get to the Cappadocians.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Nom, nom, nom.
Nom, nom, nom. Lots of eating going on. Cappadocius locked people in the city.
That's why I'm a stickler for certain things in the canon, whatever, in the canon that I think needs to stay there. And it's that way for a reason. You know what I'm saying? Like the Lamia being dead.
But
They
why
work
would
great.
what's
They
the
work
good
great.
reason for that?
They work great in a Dark Ages game, but they're dead for a reason. You know, these things happen for a reason. The reason the Lamian are dead is they need a way to explain how the Giovanni got their curse, and that's how it is.
I mean, that does make, yeah, it makes the most sense that they are dead and gone, unfortunately. But they have a great legacy, and they're great in Dark Age games. But and
Exactly.
it makes sense that the Cappadocians did survive and become the Harbingers, because there is a story written about that where Cappadocius decided to lock up a bunch of his children in a city and was like, "Have fun, I'm leaving."
Take it off. Yeah. See ya.
And they and the Harbingers' politics are also interesting because they hardly ever embrace now. That's canon for them. And they are all elder vampires who get together every now and then, and their entire clan, like, drive is to murder their antediluvian and get revenge, and then kill the Giovanni along the way. So it'll be interesting to see the politics and the reason behind why did they join up with the Giovanni now? Is the Second Inquisition that much of a threat? Is Cappadocius that much of a threat? Is it both? Is it, well, the Sabbat went off and, well, we don't actually feel the beckoning because we're awesome, or we were locked away for so long we lost that. So we're here to help you survive the apocalypse. We'll kill you later.
Happy with that, by the way.
I know. But I did love some bored loser who we keep saying Giovanni, so he thinks Pokemon. He's like, how many gym badges
Yeah, I saw that.
before I catch a Limbia?
Team Rocket. Yeah.
Prepare for Gehenna and make it double.
And guys, I may have to cut this short. I just checked my blood sugar again. I've spiked pretty high,
Okay.
and I'm not feeling very well. So we're gonna cut this, short.
8 minutes. I think we can hang.
That's really fun.
We're having a good time. That's good.
That's what I'm saying. I say 8 minutes. If you want me to try, I'll try.
No, man. Yeah.
No, dude, you gotta do what you gotta do.
If you're not feeling good, we can say goodnight now.
Yeah,
and
it's just this new, diagnosis, and
yeah,
now it's actually making me aware of a lot of my not feeling well prior to now, that I understand what the issue now is. So we're keeping it under control, doing the best I can. You want me to keep kicking, or we won't be able to keep doing this. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank y'all for joining us in the channel tonight. Yeah, I'm glad you guys had just as much fun as we did. At least that's the impression I got. I want to thank our guests, Michael and Thomas.
Rah.
You guys have been awesome. Of course, we'll have you back at some point.
Fantastic. I look forward to it.
And then, of course, my wonderful co-host. And I know he's tickled the shit that we're back on the air. I mean, I think he's actually happier about this than I am, and I didn't think that was possible.
I think that might be true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Been locked in a vacancy for a bit.
Yeah, I know, man. You did not believe the number of people who kept messaging me during that interim, going, "When are you guys going back on the air?"
And my mom, I seriously. When is your show going to be on? I don't know, Ma.
No.
I really, Ma.
Exactly. So, everybody, say goodnight.
Have a good night.
Bye.